Alright, welcome to the channel, guys. What is poppin'? That's not how I start off. What is poppin', guys? It's your boy Ashley the Cat, and I am here today with our Season 2 draft analysis for the UBLN. Super excited, as you guys probably know if you've been with the channel for a while. That was the first league I was ever in. I used to upload it was a showdown-based league. We've converted it over to a cartridge-based league, and we have a couple of people with capture cards and things like that. So I'm going to be bringing 3DS Wi-Fi League content to the channel, which has pretty much been the goal from the very beginning. So I'm very excited about that. I had the 4th pick in the draft, and we have also expanded to 16 teams. So it was a lot of people were getting sniped because there's obviously 4 more picks being made on either side of your picks, as well as just the level of competition has gone up significantly. A lot of the people that it was their first time in a draft league at the first season have a couple of different leagues under their belt now. I mean, not full leagues, but at least 10 or 15 more draft league games worth of practice. So they've all gotten better. We've added in a bunch of new people that are absolutely fantastic, which I think I might have an announcement video for that coming up sometime soon as well. But all in all, really excited to be bringing you guys this content. Let's go ahead and get into the first pick, which is Mega-Lopunny. Now, I know that these slides might look a little bit weird. They look a little bit rougher than what you might be used to from the channel. That's because I recently got Photoshop, and so I kind of had mastered the app that I was using, my photo editing app. I kind of mastered what it could do, and I was really stretching it to its fullest potential. And now that I have Photoshop, I'm a little bit lost back in the deep end. So it might take a second to get my graphics back up to the level that they were, but anyway, we're going to go right in and talk about Mega-Lopunny. So I was super excited about this. This is pretty much one of the best normal type attackers in the game. It is a physical monster. It's super fast. It's got an incredible fake out. It's got great coverage moves being a normal type. I'm really excited to use this Pokemon in the draft league format. I've been trying to draft this Pokemon in every league that I've been in that allows it, and every single time it gets sniped before me. So I'm very thankful to have it on my team this time. And I wanted to, I've built a lot of my drafts around having a strong Fairy Dragon Steel. Like if you go and look, every single draft I have, pretty much my first 3 picks is either Fairy Dragon Steel or Fire Water Grass. Like I like to get my cores together. And so this time I wanted to take a crack at making a core that wasn't Fairy Dragon Steel or Fire Water Grass. So with my next Pokemon, I picked up Gengar. So, also as a side note, this slide right here is what I designed all my slides around, because I designed the logo for the UBLN, you'll see down in the bottom left corner. It kind of has a holographic feel to it, and I wanted to kind of replicate that feeling of like pulling a holographic card, because you know it's like a draft, you're pulling these Pokemon, and I kind of wanted to maintain that same vibe. So I tried to use the TCG art for a lot of these, but I found this one first and thought that I would be able to find more TCG arts that were cut and framed like this, but unfortunately that was not the case. So I had to kind of do some of my own, especially with Mega-Lopunny, seeing as Mega-Lopunny actually does not have a TCG card, which is pretty crazy. But Gengar is absolutely insane special attack. It's got great speed, and it's a ghost type. So on the special side and on the physical side, I have the ghost and normal type attacker. That's unresisted damage with 2 Pokemon that have fantastic coverage. So I think that is a very intimidating offensive core, and I'm very excited about using it. So looking at these Pokemon, I kind of was trying to gauge what I would need to pair with them, and they are both weak to Psychic. Gengar is weak because of its poison, and Mega-Lopunny is weak because of its fighting type. So what is a good Pokemon that would give me utility that I could switch in to be a dark type? And I picked up MANDIBUZZ, which, side note, this MANDIBUZZ break card is absolutely dope. I love MANDIBUZZ as a Pokemon. It's got great, fantastic HP stats with really good defense and serviceable special defense, but even serviceable defenses with a 110 base HP is going to be a lot sturdier than some other things you might see. It gets Defog, it gets Foul Play, it gets U-Turn, it gets Roost. You can run a Rocky Helmet set. It meshes so well with Gengar and Mega-Lopunny. Also providing a dark type switch in for Gengar as well as a ghost type switch in for Gengar. It backs up Gengar very well, and almost as well backs up Mega-Lopunny as well. So I think that core right there was a really cool core that I'm very excited to see how it works. So looking around the teams and looking around what was left, I did notice that my old habits kicked in. I got kind of nervous that I hadn't picked up a fairy, a dragon, a steel, a grass, or a fire, or a water type. So with my next pick, I wanted to pick up something that could have offensive utility as well as defensive utility, and I decided to go with Alolan Ninetales, which this card is gorgeous as well. I picked Alolan Ninetales because I think that having that Aurora Veil up is going to be huge for my defensive Pokemon as well as my offensive Pokemon. Having Mega-Lopunny and Gengar taking half or 75% it, I can't remember which one it is, taking a significantly less damage every time they come in is going to be huge and going to give my team opportunities to make some moves and make some plays that they might otherwise not be able to because of, you know, being taken out. They're rather frail Pokemon overall. But this also helps with, I like having my Mandibuzz with Overcoat, meaning that the hail coming from this Alolan Ninetales isn't going to get all up in my face or anything like that. And just really happy I get to have this Pokemon on my team. That's another thing, you know, call me a little bit selfish, but I'm really excited about being able to have these teams on cartridge, because now I will be able to have some of these Pokemon on cartridge and, you know, maybe make some breed jacks and things like that to work with. But I'm very excited. I love Alolan Ninetales. Definitely one of my favorite Alolan forms, and super nice to have a good ice type. It's got freeze dry, which is definitely essential. I think any team should have freeze dry because of the multitude of bulky waters. But anyway, talked enough about Alolan Ninetales. Let's move on next into Tangrowth. So Tangrowth is a Pokemon I'm very, very familiar with. I've picked it a ton in Draft League format. I've used it a ton on the OU ladder, and for good reason. It's got amazing utility. It's 100 HP partnered with its 125 defense is absolutely insane. And even with an Assault Vest, that special defense is really nothing to scoff at. It switches into a lot of very powerful threats, and its speed tier really doesn't matter with all of its stats being so good. It's a very, very well-rounded Pokemon. You can run it attacking. It's got a plethora of attacking moves as well as special attacking. It's got a bunch of those as well. And you can even run it with utility with things like Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, all sorts of crazy stuff, man. Tangrowth is fantastic, and I think is going to do a good job of kind of backing up Mandibuzz as the wall here. Anyway, not much more to say about Tangrowth. Everybody kind of knows how Tangrowth works. Next, in round, I think 7, we picked up LATIAS, which was really, really cool. This is another Pokemon that I remember catching on my, I was at a buddy's house when I was a kid playing Pokemon Sapphire, I think, was the one that LATIAS was on. I don't know. I remember catching LATIAS on whichever copy it came on originally, Ruby or Sapphire. I played Sapphire more, but I had Ruby as well. And oh man, I'd use this Pokemon all the time. I still have it actually. I transferred it all the way up on Pokemon Bank. It's level 100. It's got great special defense, which is only going to be bolstered by being behind that Aura Veil. It's got Healing Wish, which is a fantastic utility move that will allow me to pass off some health to some of my other Pokemon, which I think Mega-Lopunny gets as well. So even it is definitely more of an attacking Pokemon, but if the opportunity presents itself to run Healing Wish and just keep passing around health that way, it's nice to have the option. It's also a very formidable Calm Mind attacker. Obviously, LATIAS has a lot of roles. It gives me another Defogger, I'm pretty sure. Which, you know, more defog the merrier. I can't get enough of that defog, especially since at this point I don't really have anything that likes to hazard stack a lot. There's the possibility with no, I actually maybe further down in the team. We'll see. I can't remember. I don't think any of the Pokemon thus far have any hazards, you know, big hazards to speak of. So let's go on next to our fire type. We have our Darmanitan. So Darmanitan is another Pokemon that has great HP with middling defenses that would perform very, very well behind an Aura Veil. That 140 attack is absolutely insane, and the 95 speed is definitely serviceable. I think it might get access to Sunny Day. I can't remember. I think it does, because I'll talk about my Z-move users at the end, so I'll save that. But we have, it's not, special attack isn't really good, but that's not what we're using it for. This is going to be another wall breaker. So as you can see from this team so far, we have a lot of very potent offensive threats and good check-ins to them. Like that Tangrowth is going to tank any kind of attack coming out toward this Darmanitan, whether that be rock, ground or water, it's just going to yum eat it up absolutely free. So now also we have our Gastrodon, which is another water type switch in with that amazing Storm Drain ability, and just gives me a nice little bulky recovery mon. This is my main ground type, so you probably won't see that much ground spam coming from my team, but I like Gastrodon's utility. I've seen it used a lot in VGC, where it is definitely more popular. But looking at all the different bulky waters on the list at this point in time of the draft, I felt Gastrodon fit my team very well. My team's not like overly electric weak or anything, but having a ground and water type to switch in is pretty nice. It gets recover, so having reliable recovery is always good. This is going to be a good mon for toxic. I don't prefer to toxic stall, but it is always definitely an option with the mon that gets recovered to throw that toxic out and just keep recovering up until they switch or they die. So I liked Gastrodon. Obviously, since I'm picking these mons later, my fire water grass core and my fairy dragon steel core aren't going to be as star-studded as they are in the past, but I'm really a fan of this Gengar MANDIBUZZ Mega-Lopunny core. I think it's going to work very, very well. So I'm just trying to get good Pokemon to support them in different matchups that they might have. Next, we picked up MAGNETON. Now, the reason I picked up MAGNETON is because while we do have U-turn on MANDIBUZZ, I wanted some more chances to get switch-ins, and MAGNETON seems like a fantastic option for that. With Volt Switch, it gets analytic, meaning that slow Volt Switch that we're trying to get off will typically do more damage, especially if they switch, because I will be going last. So you throw some choice specs on this thing with its 120 special attack and run an analytic boosted Volt Switch, and that is pretty much just going to do a nice chunk of change to anything that's not a ground type. So I figured this would be a great pivot Pokemon, as well as giving me a way to trap steals if I need to. I always do have Mega-Lopunny for steel types, but then again, Jirachi is out there, things of that nature. So I definitely like the option to trap steals if I need to, as well as firing off those slow analytic boosted Volt Switches, which is always a threat. So next we picked up Rampardos. I was looking at the Pokemon left on the board and what my team didn't have, and I actually didn't have a bug type and a rock type. And while getting a bug type wasn't as important to me because it's not really a good type offensively or defensively if you already have answers to psychic type Pokemon, but I like this Pokemon because that attack stat is insane. It gets reckless, it gets head smash, and a lot of people are going to look at my team and be a lot more worried about Pokemon like Gengar and Darmanitan, Mega-Lopunny, LATIAS. But if their team is slow enough, what really is going to stop a Scarf for Rampardos? Obviously, a lot of stuff can stop a Scarf for Rampardos, but it is always a dangerous Pokemon that you don't want to see on the other side of the field if you don't really have an idea of what it's going to do. Because yes, while it's pretty straightforward, just break somebody down with their attacks, the different items have a lot to play into. I don't know. I like this Pokemon a lot. I think it's got some good utility. It is very slow, but as a late game sweeper, it could definitely put in a lot of work. So finally, we picked up Lapras, and this Pokemon I can almost guarantee will change, just because I was a little bit rushed. Like, we were running at the end of the timer on my turn. I was at work. I had been looking at the tier 5s for probably 7-8 hours at this point and could not pick. So I wrote down the things that each of these mons could do, and Lapras could just do more things. Now, that doesn't mean that it can do them better, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't already take some places. Like, for example, Water Absorb is something nice, but I already have that in Gastrodon. It does get Freeze Dry, but I already have that in Alolan Ninetales. But it does get other things like Ice Shard, which is fantastic. It gets Whirlpool and Perish Song. It's got some pretty good utility as a Assault Vest Pokemon. It doesn't have a fantastic special attack, but being able to just tank some hits with that 130 HP and the 95 special defense is not bad at all. And I don't anticipate myself bringing Lapras to a bunch of games, as is traditional of my last picks, but it's a Pokemon that I am excited to own, I'm excited to have, and I hope that I can use it. If not, there's always other Pokemon I can switch it for. I'm not going to say because people probably watch this video that are in the league. But overall, I'm really happy with picking up Lapras, and I hope that I get the chance to use it to its full potential. So that is our full team. Let me talk about our Z users real quick. Our Z users are Gengar, Darmanitan, and LATIAS. I use LATIAS because of Z Healing Wish is something cool. I can't remember exactly, but also just because of its great coverage moves and serviceable special attack with access to Calm Mind. We also have Gengar because that boy is very fast, very strong, and I wanted one of my main sweepers to have a Z move, and Mega-Lopunny has to hold Lopunnyite, so I really didn't have much of a choice. Gengar was the most obvious Z user on my team, that he can really punch holes in things with the Z moves, and he gets fantastic coverage to take advantage of that. So finally, our last Z user is Darmanitan. Now, I picked Darmanitan initially just because I can't really imagine another mon that would use it better. Rampardos is too slow. Magneton that's not really the role that it plays. Lapras, I don't want to give the Z move to a mon that I'm probably going to drop off my team. I can't think of anything Tangrowth really needs a Z move for, as well as Gastrodon. There's potential for it to be on Alola Ninetales, but I just really think that Darmanitan was definitely the best choice for that Z move. But also, I think if it gets Sunny Day, I'm fairly certain if it gets Sunny Day. Z Sunny Day actually gives you a +1 speed boost. So, being able to throw in that Darmanitan, they might think that you're scarfed, switch out, lay up the Z Sunny Day, get rid of that hail so it's not doing chip, as well as boosting your fire type attacks and giving you a +1 speed boost. That's pretty scary, especially if you are behind an Aura Veil. So, that's really the thought process I had behind my Z move users. So let me know what you guys think about the team. I am super excited to be using the core of Gengar, MANDIBUZZ, and Mega-Lopunny. But tell me your experiences. If you have something to say, if you're like, oh, I like this, but this doesn't really fit well. You know, we do get plenty of transactions, and I love to hear what you guys have to say. So just leave what you want to, leave whatever you want to say in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the bullshit, and I will see you guys next time.